I'm giving away this championship belt once I hit 100,000 subscribers, so go ahead and click subscribe today. Welcome back to the Angle Show. I, of course, am Ango. We're going to kick things off with some Hulk Hogan lies. I thought this was a very, very interesting story, and honestly, I just couldn't stop laughing when I heard about this, because if you are living under a rock, maybe you don't know this, but Hulk Hogan has pretty much been outed in so many different interviews and so many different articles about lies that he's told throughout his entire career. And this time, the lie is so stupid and so ridiculous that, like, I don't think anybody would have believed this in the first place, but nonetheless, people are laughing with me. Chris Van Fleet, CVV, dropping a fantastic interview with Hulk Hogan. This guy, we all know, huge fan of him and his work. He does an interview with Hulk Hogan, and basically in the interview, Hulk Hogan goes on to say that there was plans for his son, Nick Hogan, to go one-on-one against Shane McMahon at WrestleMania 39. And obviously, when you just think of that in general, you just realize how stupid that is and how ridiculous it is. And it probably comes to your mind that maybe WWE would never do such a thing. But the reality here is Hulk Hogan is so convinced that it was going to happen. But nonetheless, Fightful Select came out and they got some clarification on this. Fightful Select said that a higher up in WWE said that there has never been a serious conversation about Nick being involved in things, or involved in anything. The source also added, even when Hulk would mention him being involved in things, there just wasn't an interest or a benefit to that, obviously. And the funny thing is, like, I don't even, like, Nick Hogan, why? Like, what would be the purpose of this, right? There would be literally no purpose of this at all whatsoever for Nick Hogan to be involved in the WWE, let alone in a match with Shane McMahon for WrestleMania 39. And honestly, it is so ridiculous how something like this even gets talked about, because I want to be very clear here. Nick Hogan is not a wrestler, and Hulk Hogan obviously can't wrestle. And Hulk Hogan is pretty much like on this Legends contract where he shows up a little bit here and there. He gets the crowd hype. Maybe he cuts a promo, whatever. But he's not there to wrestle. He's not there for storylines. It's just so ridiculous. And I feel like if anybody heard this rumor, if they watched the interview and they started hearing rumors about this, everybody would shut it down. Nobody would take it seriously. Nobody would agree with it. Nobody would care. And I can't imagine WWE ever doing something that stupid. And trust me, this is coming from somebody like who acknowledges that WWE has had some very dumb storylines in the past. But nonetheless, Hulk Hogan has been outed as a liar. And if you guys didn't know, like, literally, there's so many videos and articles about all the lies Hulk Hogan has spewed. There's literally Twitter accounts dedicated to it. It is so funny. Hulk Hogan, always going to be a legend, but this guy, man, he really just... Not only did he ruin his reputation for, like, the worst type of behavior ever, but now this guy is, like, literally rewriting history. I don't know where he's at with this. I just couldn't stop laughing. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit about ratings because AEW lost to NXT. NXT was on Tuesday. AEW was on Wednesday. NXT had 857,000 viewers. AEW Dynamite had 800,000 viewers. And this was the episode with Adam Copeland, obviously making his debut. So, of course, on social media, you have a lot of people from the WWE Tribalist accounts. They're coming out and saying that pretty much Edge is not a draw. Then you have people from the AEW audience trying to make excuses. And really what I'm asking for is for people to stop looking at specific numbers, trying to say whether or not a show is good or bad. Because I feel like a show can have high ratings or low ratings, and it could be good or bad regardless of the actual number. I don't think people realize how much is really going on in somebody's life that might keep them away from watching a show, especially on weekdays, especially, if I'm just being honest with you guys, like sometimes if I'm interested in a product and I love a product, but I have something else to do, I might have to watch the show on DVR. And that's the thing that, like, nobody's talking about. Like, there is so much more competition than just what's on TV, and people got other priorities in life. People got other things to deal with in life. And of course, everybody's making this about AEW versus NXT. And yeah, NXT had great numbers, and I still think AEW has great numbers. But at the end of the day, these numbers don't tell the full story. And I also believe that with AEW and WWE, there's a lot of fluctuation to begin with in general, and I don't think enough people are talking about that. I do want to put it out there because I didn't do a review for AEW Dynamite. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I think there's been a lot of continuity from WrestleDream. I thought they've been telling some good stories. They got some good things in the works. Tony Storm is absolutely fantastic. Might have the best gimmick in pro wrestling right now. Adam Copeland's debut, Christian Cage telling him to go F himself. I mean, a lot of good things came from last night's episode. So, you know, the reality is that just because the show did 800,000 viewers doesn't mean I'm going to enjoy or not enjoy it just because the number is high or low. You know what I mean? So ultimately, very interesting that NXT has started to do very well. Obviously, WWE has a different strategy with NXT, but it definitely seems to be working. And you know that WWE wants a new TV deal for Raw and NXT, so I imagine WWE is really going to click on the accelerator, and they are really going to try to push for some more big moments and big stories. This way, they can try and get a better TV deal. What I will say is because so many people think, you know, oh, AEW's ratings have dropped, they can get canceled. Their relationship with Warner Bros. Discovery is super good, so I don't really want to see that narrative being spun on the internet. Speaking of AEW, AEW has a big plan for Full Gear. Obviously, we know MJF versus Jay White is going to be happening at the event, but now there seems to be something really, really big happening at Full Gear, and this could be massive for AEW. Because Mercedes Moné was speaking with Kevin Undergaro at AfterBuzz TV, and basically she's talking about you know, how AEW is mentioned to LA, and she's starting to spark the speculation that she could very well show up at Full Gear. She says she's got to check her schedule. Very busy, doing a lot of things, traveling a lot. And yeah, I mean, look, guys, this is the thing. It's not a secret that she's going to AEW. At this point, it's been pretty open and honest. And I think really for AEW, bringing in Mercedes is just going to be a big win. It's going to be a big win for AEW. And most importantly, when you look at all the drama that's been surrounding them for the last 2 years, and now you're starting to see some key additions brought into the company, it's going to change the overall backstage atmosphere, which is going to be fantastic for that company. And I think that's what they need. They need positive influences backstage. Mercedes is a hell of a talent. Adam Copeland's a hell of a talent. And they just have a lot of great things they could be doing together. So for me personally, I'm excited about this. And I want to know what you guys think. And one thing too, I want to say, I know there's been a lot of rumors and stuff. There was some real heat to those rumors that perhaps it could be Saraya versus Mercedes, and obviously that can make a lot of sense, especially when you go back to the WWE days. But Tony Storm is now timeless, and Mercedes and Tony Storm could be a freaking hell of a feud, hell of a story. The legit boss versus timeless Tony Storm. Give it to me, just like I could potentially give you a world championship belt like this one. So go ahead and click subscribe today.